Libra, hello. This is a full moon read for Libra, sun, moon, rising placements. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, and we try to do the full moon reads when we can fit them in. We've had some pretty impressive full moons recently, and this one appears to be bringing with it potential for some clashing. It's in Aries. It's a full moon in Aries, October 13th, and it's potentially going to be testing our relationships with others. So I wanted to try to get some readings out, offer some guidance from Spirit for all of you on how to weather this this full moon on the 13th. So let's see. I'm going to use the Bad Girl Tarot, which is right here. Show it to you. I have done a review of this deck, which probably has posted, it should post today actually, today being when I'm recording this video for you. And this is a deck from artist Katie Skelly, and there will be a link for you in the notes below in case you're interested in getting a copy of this deck. It is quite a nice deck. The artwork is great. I really like the interpretations on the cards here. I noted in my video that they are very slippery, so they may fall out of my hands on occasion, but I've been using them and I'm starting to get used to them, starting to break them in, so they're a little less unruly when I'm shuffling. But there's a certain magic in that, I think, as well. Anyway, let's get back to this full moon instead of just me rambling on. So Libra, October 13th, full moon in Aries. There's the potential here for a lot of ego clashes. There's a potential for your relationships to be tested because of moodiness and aggressiveness. The Aries energy is fiery. It is impulsive, headstrong. A lot of people will be in their egos, okay, and you included. So we just want to be aware of that. We want to try to focus on the positives here. So there's a lot of powerful force bringing change. And there's an opportunity there for you to embrace change. And with that embracing of change, there's the promise of lots of gifts coming our way, because we have this, I forget which planet it is, but there's this sense that because of the various planetary alignments, it may be Jupiter. I think it's Jupiter. I'm not an astrologer, so I'm using information I have collected from watching others' videos here. I'll just put that right out there, but there is this collective belief that the Aries energy is going to be causing conflicts, potential ego clashing, really testing our relationships personally and professionally, and that if we can go with the flow and embrace the changes that are coming, Jupiter comes in behind with a basket full of goodies for us, full of growth and blessings and prosperity, and it's all there waiting if we can just manage to accept the changes. Now, as you know, change isn't always an easy thing to accept. So we are going to ask some questions here, try to get a little bit of guidance from Spirit to help us understand how to deal with all of these changes, possible big endings, possible big new beginnings, power struggles, probably around money, because that's a pretty common thing people fight about. It is a good time to learn how to go with the flow if you can, Libra. Okay, so we're going to ask 3 questions. Where is Libra holding too tightly? Where is Libra's ego overinvested? And it's time for some reallocation of ego. And lastly, how can Libra improve relationships right now? What is within your power to actually control? There are a lot of control issues around this moon. But we often think that we can control things. We really can't. So my question for Spirit here is where do you have power to actually control and change and improve your relationships? Because we can't really afford to invest our ego and our energy into sections of our life where we don't have that power to make positive change. So it's just pointless. Anyway, long story short, let's pull some cards here. We'll finish off with just a general oracle card from one of the oracle decks to see if we can get some guidance on how to best weather this weather, how to weather this relationship testing full moon. Spirit, we want some guidance for Libra, please. Where is Libra holding too tightly? Where is ego overinvested? And where does Libra have the power to improve relationships? All right, so we just got a bunch of cards. I'm just going to take what's fallen here in no particular order. I'll try to pull them up the way they came out, but we do have a big pile here. I think I'm just going to go with it. We're going to put that one last. See what we have. A bunch of reversals for you, Libra. Oh, we have 9 cards exactly, which was kind of what I was thinking we should have. So that's good. Let's go with that. You're the first sign I'm reading for this full moon, so you are creating a template through live experience. Recorded live anyway. All right. Let's see where we're at. So, first question, where are you holding on too tightly, Libra? We have the King of Wands reversed. King of Wands is really good leadership energy. But let's see what we've got. When we got it reversed like this, it's a little bit different, isn't it? You could be a little overbearing. There's an impulsive nature to the King in reverse here. And you may be expecting more from people than they actually are capable of giving you, is the general message there. Two of Pentacles energy is about choices that are going to be made, balancing your decision, your priorities, keeping all, it's like that juggling energy, right? Keeping everything in the air, managing and shouldering all of your responsibilities. So you may have, you may be expecting someone to be able to handle more responsibility than they actually are capable of handling, Libra. The Seven of Cups reversed is our next energy here. I'm trying to get these cards to focus, but you know, for me, that's always a challenge. The Seven of Cups is sort of assessing your options, right? All of the choices that lie before you, deciding what you want to do. When it's reversed in this manner, there could be some confusion. You could be looking at a lack of purpose. So what I'm sensing, our question here was, where are you holding too tight? I think that whatever relationship we're dealing with, whether it's a work relationship or a more intimate relationship, you have an unrealistic expectation that someone is able to manage more than they actually are capable of managing. That they can take on more responsibility, that they think like you think, essentially. And because you have this high expectation for this person, they're in this state of confusion and feeling like they don't really understand what you're expecting of them. They feel like they're trying their best to do a good job, to meet your expectation, but they're going to fail because they aren't yet ready. And I say yet because this person may have the potential to get there, but they're not yet ready to take on the level of responsibility you're trying to give them. Now, this could be in a work situation where you have a colleague that you're sharing responsibilities with, a direct report, someone that you're managing, that you're trying to give, delegate to. It could be a child that you're trying to give responsibilities to around the home, and that they're just they're kind of dropping the ball. It could be a partner. It could be expecting something from a romantic partner that they're just not capable of giving you. If we have some time, maybe we can clarify a little bit, but that's the picture there with regard to the question of where you're holding on too tight. You're trying to control and delegate to somebody who's not ready for it, and your expectation isn't going to be met at this time. So maybe find another way to address that situation during this time, this full moon energy of conflict and ego clashing, in order to get the rewards. Say this person finally being able to take on what you're delegating, you need to pull your energy back a little bit, be patient, reevaluate how you're approaching the situation, and see if there's another way for you to explain the task, another way for you to gradually delegate as opposed to all at once. There are different ways that you might address this, but expressing your disappointment to them that they're not achieving what you hope they could achieve is not really going to get you far right now, because during this energy, that person's going to be very defensive, and you might do some harm that makes it impossible for you to get where you want to go in the long run. Our second question, Libra, for Spirit here was, where is your ego overinvested? So where are you putting too much of your ego right now? The Six of Cups comes out in the reverse, and that's telling me that something is changing. You're feeling the need for more independence right now. The King of Swords is coming out reversed as well, and that is a very analytical energy, but in the reverse, it can be a sign that you're being kind of cruel to someone, maybe, Libra. It could be where you're falling into your weaknesses. You're not really playing to your strengths right now. You are more taking an easier way. You are very bright and you have a very sharp mind, and you may be using that to manipulate someone right now because that's easier than dealing with the situation directly. Strength is coming out reversed as well, and in this case, this is adding a note of weakness also. So you're really not using the best of your abilities right now, whatever the situation is, and it could be the one we're talking about in the first row. It could be some other aspect of your life, but you're in this space where I don't want to call you lazy, okay? But intellectually, you're relying on the easier way right now, it would seem, Libra. And if you put more time and effort into the communication of your feeling, of your position, you could have a better result, but you almost don't care right now. You're feeling a little insecure about the situation we're addressing here, this relationship question, this question of where your ego is overinvested. There's some relationship where you are really, you're just not putting in the effort. You're seeing it. Maybe you're just exhausted. Like, this is a relationship that's of long-term nature, and you feel like you've banged your head against a certain brick wall so many times. Right now, you're just feeling like, you know what, I can't even. If I just handle it this way, if I fall into this place where I'm communicating in a manipulative fashion, I know how the other person will react. Everything will keep going. Another day will pass. And I'm just going to go kind of focus on doing my own thing. I'm not going to have the difficult conversation. I'm not going to say once more why this matters to me and what I'm expecting of them and try to be the bigger person. I'm just going to slowly fade into this space where I'm focused on me and I'm gradually moving forward. And if this other person doesn't meet me in this communication, so be it. They will just be left behind. So I don't know what relationship this is. I don't know the specifics here, but although it's understandable that if you've had the conversation many times, you may be tired, it's definitely not in your best interest to be manipulative or to fall into your ego of, I'm above this. Who are they to treat me this way? Try to have the conversation is what it's saying. But again, with this moon, the energy of this moon is very confrontational. It can be very, very likely that the two of you would get into a pretty major fight, but maybe that would clear the air. Think about that. Only you know what's right and what's wrong, but to have some honest communication here is necessary. You may want to wait a couple weeks until we get out of this fiery Aries moon energy. I'm not sure, but this is definitely where your ego is. You've got a blockage in this communication because whatever the history is, you feel like you're in the right and that you're just over this. You're just done with it. This is a time of major changes, so it is possible that if you try to have this conversation again right now, you will have a significant ending or beginning, and there will be some resolution found there. It might not be pleasant. People may see things in anger, or you may find that people finally are communicating quite clearly with one another. Hard to say. Let's look at the third question. How can you improve your relationships? What is in your power? Where do you have some control where you could make a difference? The Three of Swords is coming out reversed. This speaks to some recovery. There's forgiveness and moving on. So it's possible that you have this conversation and you realize, you know what, what's best for us is to part ways. But you do that and that's very healing for you. That would be an improvement, right? If you were not miserable, if you were not hurting anymore. Because when this card is in the upright, it's this grief and heartbroken energy. So where you could improve your relationships, the sort of a forward-looking question as opposed to where you're at right now, but not too forward-looking because it's sort of asking, what can you do right now in the next couple of weeks? And the first message out is this one of forgiveness. The Queen of Cups reversed is coming out next. You can see her. She's bringing this note of martyrdom and insecurity, dependence, and the Five of Cups comes up next. It's a beautiful card. Look at that. The Five of Cups is about regret, feeling that you've lost something, feeling some self-pity, potentially feeling betrayed or feeling remorse for something that you've done or the way you've handled a certain situation. So, and my question to Spirit here is, how can you improve your relationships and what is in your power? What I'm seeing is you can choose not to be manipulative or act like a martyr, right? You can choose to have the difficult conversation we talked about here. You can choose to forgive. That's within your power. If there's something that you're holding a grudge about, if there's someone you feel has wronged you, you can choose forgiveness. A lot of times when we hold on to that pain of having been, when we hold on to the sense of being a martyr or being the victim, we hurt ourselves. And in forgiveness, sometimes it's not about the other person and how the other person feels. It's about us and how we feel and what we're poisoning ourselves with daily. If we can somehow find our way to forgiveness and realize that what matters is today, not yesterday or the day before or last year or 20 years ago. What matters is today. We can really free ourselves, and that is in your control, whether or not you choose to forgive something that has been done to you or against you. This feeling in the Five of Cups, some people see it as a negative card, but I don't really, because it's, although you may feel regret or you may feel remorse, you may feel loss or grief, you're feeling it, right? You're working your way through it. And if you look at this imagery, which is often found on these Five of Cup cards in many decks that are derivative of Rider-Waite, you have two cups that have spilled, and that's what the regret is about. That's the sense of loss and grief because of the two cups that have spilled. But there are still three standing, and you don't see them. You're not looking at them. You're only focused on the feeling of loss, the regret, the little tear in her cheek here. And it's a choice, right? When you are in a space of forgiveness, you may be able to turn yourself around and see what is still remaining there for you to embrace the possibilities that still remain there, Libra. Okay, so those are our three main questions. Our final question is, how do we best weather this relationship testing full moon on the 13th? And I think, what do I want to clarify with? I think we'll answer the final question with a fortune cookie. Why not? Sort of fun. This is another little deck of oracle cards. And we'll see if this works out. I'm not sure if we can find an answer here for our question. How are we best to weather this? Positive work outcomes. Consistent effort will bring rewards, and a major purchase is worth making. So, consistent effort does seem to be the answer as a general rule. This is not easy, the conversation that you can choose to have or not. You can choose to stay in that space where you just do things the way you've done them, and you know everything will continue to run while you in the background are making your escape plan. Or you could try one more time using the confrontational energy of this full moon to have a meaningful conversation, to open up those lines of communication again. With this first row, if it's the same situation, if it's a different situation, the answer there is also to bring your consistent effort to bear in communicating with this person that you have great expectations of, that seems to be disappointing those expectations right now. And with any endeavor in healing or forgiveness, it's really about the day-to-day. And it's a bit spiralic, right? It doesn't always, day 1 I feel this way, day 5 I feel a little better, day 10 I feel a little better. Yeah, but on day 3 or day 7, you may feel just as bad as you did on day 1, and that's normal. But the consistent effort to try to just show up and feel your feelings does pay off and bring you rewards. So think about how you can best use the energy of this moon, and I hope that it is not too challenging for you to just sit back a little and experience the changes that are happening so that you can benefit and grow from the changes that are coming instead of fighting them. Fighting them doesn't really get you anywhere except feeling bad. So kind of just be aware of how the energies are going to be. Try to be a little kinder, a little nicer, let a few people in when you're stuck in traffic. Hold the door for someone maybe. I think it's going to be just fine. I think given what I see here for you, Libra, it might actually be the catalytic energy that you need to really resolve some things that have been long-standing issues. So thank you for sharing this time with me. Thank you to those of you that have subscribed to the channel. Super excited about the fact that we went over 100. I think we're at 115 now, which to me is just incredible. And I know it's not much compared to others, but it doesn't really matter because to me it's pretty great. And I thank you for that. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. If you saw something here that resonated for you, I'd love to have your feedback. There's an email address in the link below, or you can comment on the video. If you think this message may help someone in your life and resonate for them, please feel free to share the video with them. Thanks for spending this time with me, Libra. I hope you have a fantastic full moon, and we'll see you next time. Blessings.